A midnight deadline came and went without Israeli politicians able to form a new government. It means the country's facing an unprecedented third general election within a year. The parliament, or Knesset, rushed through a bill to dissolve itself with March the 2nd as the date for the next poll. It follows the breakdown in talks between embattled caretaker Premier Benjamin Netanyahu and his centrist rival.
Keep your children away from the television. There are more elections, and these elections are going to be a festival of hate and disgust. So make sure your children won't be in front of the television in the coming 3 months.
Netanyahu and Benny Gantz have both repeatedly failed to build a governing majority following the last election in September. Each has blamed the other for the impasse in which neither could agree on the terms for a rotating premiership. Netanyahu is also facing the fight of his life for political survival after a criminal indictment involving bribery and 3 separate corruption cases. He has immunity while in office. Netanyahu has denied any wrongdoing. His right-wing Likud party and Gantz's centrist blue and white opposition were nearly deadlocked last time out following a similarly inconclusive poll in April. New elections are deeply unpopular with a weary Israeli public, which has expressed mounting anger and frustration with the entire political class. A further trip to the polls also carries with it a heavy economic price. It will be well into 2020 before a new budget is passed, which will mean months of cutbacks.
If you look at the 2 biggest parties that won the last 2 elections, they aren't that different from one another in terms of policy. The divisiveness is about the role of Netanyahu, the long-serving prime minister who is fighting his corruption charges, and that leads to a bigger and deeper division over the role of the legal system in Israel, the judiciary, the police, the prosecutor. Right-wingers are accusing them of having staged some sort of a political coup. Everybody else, the opposition, the center, the left-wing parties, think that Netanyahu is trying to protect himself from prosecution by manipulating attitudes towards the judiciary. And I think that is going to be the most divisive issue of the election.
The investigations into Netanyahu, do you think they might materially change then the outcome of this next election?
Well, they're certainly the specter hanging over these elections. I think that in a way, the cases against him have really overshadowed the entire phase of Israeli politics since the September elections, at least, if not before that. The interesting thing is that his supporters and anybody who's opposed to Netanyahu has already factored these issues into their political calculations. So it's not clear that the current developments, the announcement of formal indictment on the 21st of November that the Attorney General announced, it's not clear that that really changed anybody's minds. All of his supporters, Netanyahu's supporters, already knew that he was about to be indicted. All of the people opposed to him already knew it. And in fact, the polls haven't changed very much.